Hello everyone, I'm so excited today to bring you and read to you one of my favorite stories. It's called The Pumpkin Patch Parable, and I know y'all love fall like I do. The pumpkins and the leaves are changing. It's a beautiful time of the year, but this is going to make you happy. This book, it's called The Pumpkin Patch Parable. So here we go. See that big red barn and those rolling green fields? That's where Farmer Jim lives. Way out in the country. It's so far out. The streets don't even have stop signs. The Farmer Jim grew many different things in his fields. He grew tall green corn and big red tomatoes, long yellow squash, and little green peas. People eat that stuff for dinner. I hope all of y'all like your vegetables. The best vegetables Farmer Jim grows are pumpkins. Don't you love pumpkins? They start out as flat little seeds like this. That's a pumpkin seed, that's how they start, almost as big as a raisin. One hot June day, soon after school was out, the farmer began to plant pumpkin seeds, just like he did every summer. The seeds disappeared into the ground in neat rows and grew there in the dark all through the 4th of July. Something special is getting ready to happen. Early one morning, a tiny little green shoot quietly poked his head out of the dirt. Soon a long green vine stretched across the ground. From that vine, little buds sprouted into wide green leaves. See the big leaves? The leaves spread out flat to catch the August sun. Someday, these little green buds would turn into big orange pumpkins. I bet you guessed it. But not yet. The patient farmer waited and waited and waited and waited. Then the pumpkins began to grow. How different they looked. Some were tall, some were lean. Some were short and round. Some had lumps and bumps, but all of them were pumpkins. It's kind of like us. God is like the farmer and we're like the pumpkins. And if you look around your classroom, some of the kids are short, some are tall, some have long hair, some have different colored skin than you. God made us all different and all very special, just like Farmer Jim is talking about with all of his different kinds of pumpkins. October came at last. Every night grew darker earlier than the night before. And the farmer knew it was harvest time. It was finally the time to pick the pumpkin out of the pumpkin patch. His workers brought in the right pumpkins. Which one would Farmer Jim choose? The farmer picked up one large pumpkin, taking great care. Pumpkins are tough on the outside, but they break into smithereens if dropped. So Farmer Jim washed off all the dirt, holding them real tight. Next came the messy part. The pumpkin was filled with seeds and slimy pulp. The farmer had a special plan for his chosen pumpkin. So the seeds and the slime had to go. Here you go, boys and girls. This is the yucky part of a pumpkin. Farmer Jim slowly cut all the way around the top of the pumpkin, and gently he pulled the stem. Now the farmer could look inside. Squishy, stringy pulp waited for him. Yuck. Okay, let's just take a break here and let me show you something that Farmer Jim did. So he took off the top, and inside the pumpkin is ishy, squishy, yucky things, seeds and pulp. So Farmer Jim, he went into the pumpkin and he pulls out all this awful, yucky, drippy stuff. And he takes it out and he cleans the pumpkin all around so the pumpkin will be clean inside. And you know what, boys and girls, this seed and this squishy ishy stuff, for us, it's like sin. When God sees us, if we tell a lie to our mom and dad, or if we disrespect them, if we tell a little lie, that's like pumpkin seeds. It's sin in our hearts. So God wants to go into our hearts and to clean our hearts out so that we can be clean for Him. So let me wipe my hand off after I've gotten all the squishy stuff out. Just like Farmer Jim, he's pulling all the squishy stuff out. And then the Farmer Jim pulled all the slimy pulp and wrapped it up in a newspaper off to the compost pile. It never was to be seen again. Then something really, really exciting happened. The pumpkin got a new face. Are y'all ready? Ta-da! The farmer carved a triangle for each eye. Pumpkins have eyes that don't blink or turn away. They see everything. He neatly made a little square for the nose and then carved a big, wide smile. And then the farmer put a small candle inside his pumpkin and touched the wick with a flame. How that pumpkin glowed. The pumpkin on the porch shone brightly for everyone to see. When the people saw the smiling pumpkin, they all smiled back. So, Farmer Jim cleaned out the pumpkin, gave him a face, and put a light in the pumpkin. But he couldn't put the light into the pumpkin until the pumpkin was cleaned out. So the same thing God does with us as the farmer did to this pumpkin. He cleans our hearts out and puts His light into us so that we can shine. In fact, in Matthew 5:16, this is what it says. In the same way, you should be a light for other people. Live so that they will see the good things that you do. Live so that they will praise your Father in heaven. All the neighbors knew that once again the farmer had turned a simple pumpkin into a simply glorious sight. In the same way, God the Father offers His children the chance to be made new, full of joy and full of light, shining like stars in a dark world. So, I guess y'all are wondering if I've carved my pumpkin. Actually, I did carve it. So before I go any further, I'm going to take my lighter and I'm going to light the candle that's already in there. And let's see what happens. Oh, got to put the candle in first. So I'm going to put the candle in the pumpkin and I'm going to light it because it's clean in there now. So we can put the candle in. Okay, boys and girls, this is a big time, not right now. Get ready. So I've put the light into the pumpkin, and guess what happens? See the cross? Instead of carving the face, I carved a cross because the cross is what shares with us how much Jesus loved us. So this is like you and I. If we will allow God to clean our hearts out, He will put His Spirit and His love into our hearts, just like the pumpkin. He's lit up. And if we let God put His light into our lives and into our hearts, then we can shine for the whole world to see. And boys and girls, this is a really hard time today where people are really sad and down and gloomy, but you can shine on them and make their lives better just by the way you live, by letting God put His Spirit into your hearts. I love y'all.